Welcome back to the lecture series on Introduction to AWS. As part of this lecture series, today we will be focusing on Amazon's EBS, stands for Elastic Block Store, and its types of EBS volumes. Let's begin. What is EBS? EBS is a logical volume which is get associated with your EC2 instance when you are going to launch your EC2. Then by default EBS is being attached or associated with your EC2 instance. This type of storage is used when you require a quick access, or else where latency is where you expect the latency should be less. In certain situations we expect EBS to be mostly used. At the same time, EBS is not dependent on EC2. When you are creating your EC2, then I said you that EBS is associated as a storage hard disk to your EC2. If you are terminating your EC2 instance, it does not destroy your EBS. There is a small thing which we can make it out, that we are going to see. EBS volumes and instances must be located. One particular limitation with this EBS is that the EBS which is associated with the EC2, both the EC2 and EBS should be in the same availability zone. This is one limitation which EBS comes with. If your EC2 is in some availability zone 2, then you cannot connect your EBS to the EC2 instance which is running in some other availability zone. Even both the availability zones are in the same region, we cannot connect this particular thing. This is not possible. EBS and EC2 should be in the same availability zone. You can detach your EBS from an EC2 instance and you can connect to some other EC2 instance which is running in the same availability zone. And for a single EC2 instance, you can attach any number of EBS values. So there are three scenarios. One is EBS EC2 should be running in the same availability zone. You can detach the EBS from EC2 instance, you can connect to some other EC2 instance running in the same availability zone, and one EC2 instance can have attached with more than one EC2 instance, but one limitation is all should be in the same availability zone. So let us see the types of EC2 instance or volume types. EBS comes with SSD. EBS comes with SSD or else HDD, solid state drive and hard disk drive, where SSD can be of two types. One is IOPS provision and second one is general purpose, where HDD is of type throughput optimized and cold. When you are comparing with SSD with HDD, here pricing is going to be more. If you are using SSD as your EBS, price will be less if you are using HDD, whereas IOPS is going to be more. IOPS stands for input output operations per second, whereas coming to HDD, IOPS are going to be low, input output processing per second. At the same time, throughput is going to be less if you are using SSD, whereas if you are using HDD, then throughput is going to be more. Throughput is calculated data transfer in megabytes per second. These are certain differences between when you are using EBS with SSD and when you are using EBS with HDD. When I am saying it is a throughput optimized, then it means that where you require a quick access to your data, there we deploy throughput optimized HDD. If your data is not frequently accessed, then we can go for cold HDD. If you are using cold HDD, the price will be pretty low because it will be archiving the data. If you are accessing the data very frequently, then you have to go with throughput optimized. When you are saying general purpose SSD, it stands for GP2, general purpose, where you want a balance of CPU and memory, then we can go with general purpose SSD. If you require higher input output process for second, then we can go for IOPS. This stands for IO1. So these are the types of volumes which EBS provisions to us. So let's see the hands-on session. So we will verify that the three scenarios. Let's launch an EC2 instance. I am naming it as EBS demo. I am checking out that my region is North Virginia, selecting my operating system, that is AMI, T2 micro, selecting the key pair. I can create a new key pair, naming that as EBS. It is not compulsory, just for my verification I am keeping the name as same, keeping the storage as 8 GB. This is where we are getting our SSD. Launch the instance. Now we had launched our EBS demo, and it has been launched in US East 1B. Please focus over here, US 1B, US East 1B. If we are creating our EBS in US East 1A, that means the availability zone 1A, it will be not available to US East 1B. That is what we are going to check. Okay, let's scroll down on the left bar, click on volumes. As part of this, we can see 4 different volumes has been created. Let's give some name to it, X, Y, Z. As 4 instances are there, so there are 4 different volumes which are attached to those things. Let's create a volume in order to attach it to our EC2. As we know that till 30 GB, I will be having 15 GB as the storage, and be cautious, your availability zone should be US East 1B, as our instance is running in US East 1B. That is it, and click on create volume. Now this is a volume of 15 GB which we had created. So I will be naming this as EBS 1B. Save. Now if I want to attach this 15 GB to the already running instance, then how can I do it? Is just select this particular EBS 1B, actions, still it is been in running state, still the change, yeah, it is been in creating state. Just refresh, it should be, yeah, now it has, the state has been changed into available, this 15 GB. I can select that EBS, actions, attach the value. to which particular instance. You can drop down all the instances which are available in the particular availability zone, they are being prompted my demo server and EBS demo. As part of this particular demo, I had created EBS demo, so I will be selecting that particular thing, and you can see here the naming convention should be like this: /dev /sd. You had been given an option from F to P. So what I will be doing is I will be typing down /dev /sdf. It is available, so I am selecting that particular thing, clicking on attach value. Now if you are getting back to your instance, just expand, click on instances, EBS demo, connect to that particular instance, copy, open your command prompt, change your directory to downloads, yeah, now I had connected to my EC2 instance. I will just zoom this. Now to check that whether that extra volume which we had attached, that is 15 GB, is being attached to your EC2 instance or not. To check that, you should be the root user, sudo su, super user do me as a super user, S stands for super, U for user. So I am the root user right now. So over here fdisk -L, this will display all the disks which are attached to this particular EC2 instance. You can see here 8 GB, which is a default, and we do have some disk of 15 GB too. It means that the disk which we had attached has been added. At the same time, this is just attached. To make it available, we need to just mount that particular thing. How to mount? In order to make that particular drive to be accessible, the disk to be accessible, you need to mount that particular thing. How we are going to mount is, firstly I will be creating a directory mnt. Under mount directory I am creating EBS volume as my drive. Once the drive has been created, as we are using this particular disk for the first time, you need to format the disk. To format, mkfs is the command which we are going to use. Format /dev/ what is the drive disk name, 15 GB, yeah, /dev xvdf. This is the name of my disk. So I will be using xvdf. Format this. It is formatting that particular disk. Once the formatting is done, now what I will be doing is I will be mounting. For mount, I will be using mount /mount on mnt EBS volume. Here I am mapping my disk to EBS volume. Hit enter. Now you can shift over to your EBS volume. Now this EBS volume is being given as storage capacity of 15 GB as you had mapped it with dev xvdf, the disk which we had created or attached. Over here you can create a file input.txt. Hit enter. Type something, input file from EBS deb. Control X, hit Y, enter. Now we are done with our part 1, that is attaching EBS, attaching our EBS with EC2. How to detach this EBS and connect it to some other EC2 running in the same availability zone. So, what I will be doing is over here instances, yeah, my demo server, I will be selecting this. Now what I will be doing is I will be terminating my EBS demo, as no longer I require this. When I am terminating this particular EBS demo, it does not affect my EBS volume which we had created, that is EBS 1B. If you are going to refresh, it will not affect our EBS 1B. As I said you that the data is persistent. Getting back your EBS terminated, yeah, the EBS volume EBS demo has got terminated. When you are getting back to your volumes, your EBS 1B is still there. Now what I will be doing is, I will be attaching, as it got terminated my EBS demo, it is no more attached to EBS demo. So what I will be doing is, I will be attaching to my demo server the same value, EBS 1B, select it, actions, attach. And one more thing which I want to showcase you is, if you are seeing this EBS 1B, the volumes which are in use, just a minute, yeah, in use means it is already attached to some EC2, available means those volumes are available to get attached to some other EC2. Attach volume, select my demo server and /dev/sdf, select that, attach the value. Now let us connect to our Docker my demo server, connect, copy this, copy command. Now this time I am connecting to my demo server. Yes, sudo su, change to the root directory, fdisk-l. This time you can see the 15 GB has been attached to my demo server, the other one. Over here I need to create the directory under mnt, saying that some name just like XYZ. Now you need not to format the disk again, as the disk is already formatted. So this time I will be just mounting. So let us check the disk name, /dev xvdf. Let us map with our newly created directory XYZ, hit enter. Now the mounting has been done. Change over to your mount directory XYZ, hit enter. If you are doing list all the files, we can see the input file which is already created. It means that in the previous when this volume is attached to previous EC2 instance, we had created this particular file. When we are detaching this particular EBS volume and attaching to a new EC2 instance, we can see the files are intact, that is persisted. That is it from this particular demo. Thank you.